Okay, assignment 3 with the sum and difference of two angles. Okay, we're given that sine is this ratio, so sine is positive, and so we have a choice of 1 or 2. And we're given a cos of another angle, and it's positive, so that could be in either 1 or 4. And we know that both angles are in quadrant 1. Okay, so then I'm going to create some charts. So there's my A, there's my B. Okay, so I know for the angle A, I know that's 8 and 17. Sine is the Y and the R. So I find that X. So 17 squared, right, minus, so that's 15, and it's positive. Okay, so I'm just going to write this down. Sine A was 8 over 17. Cos A is 15 over 17. Okay, let's do B. Cos was given, so that's the X, and that's the R. So the missing piece is positive 12 on the Y. So here I'm going to write the sine fraction is 12 over 13, and the cos fraction, oops, not A, it's B. The cos fraction is 5 over 13. Okay, so I have all my information. I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to find the formulas. So sine of A plus B is sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. Okay, so that's from the formula sheet. Now I have everything ready to go. I'm going to plug it in. So the sine of the A was 8 over 17. The cos of the B is 5 over 13. Cos of A is 15 over 17, and sine B is 12 over 13. Okay, so now I'm just going to multiply, so that's 40 over 221, and this is going to be 180 over 221, so that is 220 over 221. Cos A plus B, so the formula sheet, it's right here. So you're going to do cos cos minus sine sine. So cos cos minus sine sine. Okay, so cos of A, I've written it here, 15 over 17. Cos of B, 5 over 13. Sine A, 8 over 17. Sine B, 12 over 13. Okay, and now we just multiply them. So our numbers are 75 over 221 and 96 over 221. So 75 minus 96 makes negative 21 over 221. So if you were to find the point, remember that points are always x comma y, and in a trig world we would always use the cos value, trig value, to be the x and the sine value to be the y. So the coordinate would be and that's me using the cos and then the sine for x and y. Okay, next. Number 2. So we're given cos of A, sine of B. They're in the same quadrant, so we have to figure out the quadrant. Okay, so cos is negative, could be 2 or 3. Sine is positive, so this ends up being in quadrant 2. Okay, so we're going to do angle A and angle B. So for A, I was given the cos, so I've been given the x and the r. So I need to solve for the y, which is positive 7. B, I'm given the y and the r, because I'm given sine y over an r. So the x I have to solve for, which is 9, but don't forget it's negative because of its location. So A, let's go, sine A is 7 over 25, cos A is negative 24 over 25. So B, sine B is 40 over 41, cos B is negative 9 over 41. Okay, so I wrote all my trig ratios out on the side, and now I just fill in the formula. So sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. That's the formula. Okay, so following here, sine A is 7 over 25, cos B is negative 9 over 41, cos A negative 24 over 25, sine B is 40 over 41. If I times, I get negative 63 over 1025 minus 960 over 1025. And I combine the tops. Okay, cos, so the formula is cos of both angles minus sine of A sine B. Okay, so find all your ratios. We have them all lined up. Cos A, negative 24 over 25. B, negative 9 over 41. Sine A, 7 over 25. And B is 40 over 41. So this is 216 minus 280. And I end up with negative 64 on the top. So the coordinate of the point, x, y, but we use cos and sine to represent those on a plane. So your answer will be negative 64 over 1025, comma, negative 1023. Okay. Next. So I'm given the sine of A positive, so I could be here or here. Oh, so where A is already in quadrant 2. So A is in quadrant 2, so we already know that. So we can draw some stuff for A. A is in quadrant 2. I've been given a sine, so a 5 and a 13, y and r. Solving, this is negative because it's positioned in 2. Okay, so sine of A was 5 over 13, and the cos of A will be negative 12 over 13. Okay, B is in quadrant 4, and I'm given the cos, so I've been given this x, 2, and the r, 5. So here this does not work out so nice, because this will be 25 subtract 4 when I do Pythagorean theorem. So the square root of 21. Don't forget, that's actually a negative because it's down as a y. Okay, so sine of B is negative root 21 over 5. The y and the r. Cos of B is 2 over 5. Okay, so cos of A plus B. So I'm finding my formula sheet. Cos of A plus B. So cos A, cos B minus sine A sine B. Okay, negative 12 over 13. Cos B is 2/5 minus sine A, so that's 5 over 13. And sine B is negative root 21 over 5. Okay, both will have 65 in the denominator. And we get negative 24. And here we get negative 5 root 21. Okay, so this is going to turn into negative 24 plus 5 root 21. Nothing else I can do about that. Can't simplify it. Okay, sine of 2a. So the formula is that in the formula sheet. So sine of 2a. So 2 times the sine of a, so 5 over 13. Cos a, negative 12 over 13. And 13 times 13 is 169. 2 times 5 times negative 12 is negative 120. Okay, cos of A. Okay, we got to figure out the quadrants. So cos is negative, so it could be in those two quadrants. This is the reciprocal of sine. So sine is positive. Okay, so we are in quadrant 2. Okay, so A, I've been given a cos, so here's an x of negative 24 and an r of 25. And I need to solve for this, so y is 7. Pythagorean theorem. So sine of A would be 7 over 25, and cos of A is negative 24 over 25. Okay, let's talk about B. We know it's in quadrant 2. We are given a cosecant. Okay, so that's the opposite of sine, so that's a r, and that's a y. So then I would have to solve for the missing x, which would be negative 15, because it's left. So sine of B is 8 over 17, and cos of B is negative 15 over 17. So I have them all written out. Okay, to find the secant, I'm really going to do the cos, and then I'll flip it when I'm done. Okay, so cos A, cos B, minus sine A, sine B. Okay, so let's find everything. So here we go. There's my negative 24 over 25. Cos B is negative 15 over 17. Sine A is 7 over 25. Sine B is 8 over 17. Okay, what does this make? 360 over 425 minus 56 over 425 makes 304 over 425. And don't forget, I need to reciprocate. Okay, to find the point, we would need the cos of A plus B, comma, the sine of A plus B. So we actually already have cos of A plus B, which is 304 over 425. Don't forget, this was the cos, and this is the secant. So we need sine A plus B. Okay, so sine A plus B would be sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. Okay, so we have sine A, 7 over 25, cos B, negative 15 over 17, plus cos A, negative 24 over 25, and sine B is 8 over 17. Okay, so this comes to negative 105 plus a negative, so 24 times 8 is 192. So negative 297 over 425. And now I can fill that in to my coordinate.